As my own vacation looms ahead, and because I am apparently a masochist, I decided to make today's video a top 5 of the worst travel stories I have had the misfortune of reading. Lord Jesus, take the wheel. Welcome to the Crafty Cryptid, a channel dedicated to the dark, the strange, and the mysterious. If you enjoy this kind of content, subscribe and ding the notification bell. I post multiple times a week. Now then, let's dive into today's stories. I am honestly not sure which of these is worse than the other. They are all horrible in my opinion, so the numbering system I will use isn't a way to categorize intensity, but rather just a list of horrible things that have gone wrong on people's vacations. With that said, let's look at number 5. Keith Brown was traveling back to London from Ethiopia with his wife when he was detained by customs officers while connecting in Dubai. He was found to have cannabis on his person, was arrested on drug possession charges, and was sentenced to 4 years in prison. He had 0.003 grams, or 0.0001 ounces, of cannabis stuck to the bottom of his shoe. This is about the size of a grain of sugar, not nearly enough to have any psychotropic effect. Fortunately for the 43-year-old father of 3, he was pardoned and released early on in his sentence. The UAE is notoriously tough and unyielding on drug crime, so if you are ever heading there for any reason, be aware that even the smallest, invisible crumb of a drug will be caught, and you could receive a jail sentence. Number 4. This one is absolutely horrifying to me, and it involves bugs. So if you are squeamish, please fast forward through this story. British tourist Rochelle Harris was on a flight back from a holiday in Peru in 2013 when she began experiencing a powerful headache and shooting pains in her face. On returning home, 27-year-old Harris paid a visit to a doctor. After initially blaming an ear infection, oh my, doctors soon discovered 8 large maggots wriggling around inside Harris's ear canal. She remembered walking through a swarm of flies while hiking on her vacation, and one had been buzzing in her ear, but once she waved the fly away, she thought nothing more of it. The insect was a, quote, New World screwworm fly, which generally lay their larvae in the wounds of warm-blooded animals. Once they hatched 24 hours later, the maggots chewed a 12mm or half-inch hole in Rochelle Harris's ear canal. The ordeal didn't cause any permanent damage to Harris, and surprisingly, the incident made her less squeamish about bugs. Number 3. From horrifying bugs to missing persons, this next story is every mother's worst nightmare. In 2009, 17-year-old Brittany Drexel told her mother she was spending spring break no more than 32 kilometers, or 20 miles, from their home in Rochester, New York. Instead, she headed to the party town of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, with her boyfriend and friends. While there, she went to the Blue Water Hotel to visit a friend who was staying there. She stayed about 10 minutes, then walked out of the hotel lobby at 9 p.m., never to be seen again. Surveillance cameras caught her entering and leaving the Blue Water, but offered no other clues. The following day, her cell phone signal disappeared. The signal was later tracked to a swampy area, sparking even greater fears for Brittany's safety. The area was searched extensively, but nothing was ever discovered. Police interviewed the friend she had visited at the Blue Water Hotel, who had somewhat suspiciously returned home to Rochester that night at 2 a.m., and searched the room of a person of interest at another hotel, but no concrete evidence or trace of Brittany Drexel has ever been found. Brittany's mother eventually moved from Rochester to Myrtle Beach to feel closer to her daughter and to stay involved in the investigation. 2. At number 2, we have the unfortunate, but also very fortunate story of the Lutz family. Gary Lutz wanted to share his love of caving with his two sons, Buddy, age 13, and Tim, age 9. In June of 1990, he drove with the boys from their home in Florida to explore the New Trout Cave in West Virginia. They set off into the cave wearing headlamps and carrying a pack of supplies, including food, water, and extra headlamps. After 305 meters, or 1,000 feet, they reached a section known as the Maze, full of jagged rocks and tight spaces. Fearing the pack would become a hindrance, Lutz left it behind, intending to return in the half hour he estimated they had left in their headlamps. After only a few minutes, the boys' lamps burned out. Lutz decided to return to the pack, but soon realized they were lost. Lutz's lamp died, and the family was plunged into darkness. Gary and the boys were trapped in the cave for 5 days with no food, water, or light. They began hallucinating, retching from the soot left over from past mining operations in the cave, and Gary developed chest pains. On the 5th day, the family was rescued after a nearby resident alerted authorities that the car had been parked outside of the cave for days. The National Cave Rescue Association questioned why Lutz carried just one pack into the cave, only to leave it behind, and said that as an experienced caver, he should have known better. Quote, "The rescue should never have taken place. Gary Lutz violated every rule that the NSS and the rest of organized caving preaches to each and every one of us. Carry 3 sources of light each. Tell someone where you are caving and when you will return." Our number 1 spot today actually includes real footage of the disaster, so stay tuned to watch the terrifying event take place. While vacationing in Florida, two 17-year-old teens from Indiana were seriously injured while parasailing in a horrific incident that was caught on video. As wind speeds increased due to an incoming storm, the operator of the boat made an attempt to bring the girls down, only to have the rope snap, leaving Sydney and Alexis strapped in and at the mercy of strong winds. Horrified onlookers saw them sail overhead, screaming, heading straight for an apartment building. They slammed into a balcony, where building residents tried to grab onto them, but the wind was too strong. They hit nearby power lines and crashed into a parking lot, landing on a windshield and shattering it.
This cell phone video shows a parasailing adventure gone horribly wrong. Look at how two teens slam into the side of a building in Panama City Beach, Florida. And hit the top of another building before they come crashing down on the other side. Stunned witnesses called for help.
The Commodore and a parasail just smashed into the top of it.
You get power lines in front of the building. You're going to need 2 paramedic units around.
Chase Ponder shot the horrific scene Monday afternoon.
You could feel in the air that, someone right.
Sydney Good and Alexis Fairchild are hospitalized with critical injuries. The teens were parasailing over the Gulf of Mexico when the winds kicked up from an approaching storm and their tow line snapped, sending them spiraling out of control.
Sydney Good suffered brain trauma and cracked vertebra and will suffer long-term health issues, including vision problems. Alexis Fairchild had a broken back, head trauma, and serious lacerations, presumably from the car windshield. The incident sparked fury at the lack of safety regulations for water sports companies. I cannot imagine the fear and panic that their parents went through, watching all of this take place. Thankfully, however, both girls lived through their harrowing ordeal, and although they have serious complications they must overcome, they are truly lucky to be alive. Well, now that I am thoroughly traumatized and thinking about my own vacation plans, I'll leave you with this question. Have you ever experienced something horrifying while traveling or on vacation? Let me know in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed today's video. To be updated when I post next, click subscribe and ding the notification bell. I post multiple times a week. And remember to leave me a thumbs up and a comment for the YouTube algorithm. Thanks for watching, and come back soon, Cryptids.